Hello, everybody. A quick bit of housekeeping before today's episode begins. I wanted to address just a couple things. It's nothing too serious. First of all, I'd like to quickly let everybody know that some of Echo's music is being content ID'd. Um, from what I can tell, it's just being recognized as royalty-free music, and everything should be fine. I don't think this will result in any of my videos getting taken down, though. At least I hope not. I don't have plans to become a fully monetized channel. Ooh. As you can see, I'm not doing a voiceover. This is live. Ah, my tail. This game is called Swamp Keeper, by the way. So, I'm not planning on becoming fully monetized, at least not yet. And maybe someday in the future, if it kind of works out that way, I guess. But the important part is I really just want to make sure all the parts stay up on YouTube. The next thing I wanted to mention was that I do have plans to read through the short stories. I don't know where in the timeline they're gonna go. I have been told that I absolutely need to read... Oh, geez. I absolutely need to read Route 65 before playing Jenna's route, so I will do that. And I do have plans to read Arches after the whole thing is done. I just don't know where in the timeline it's good to read the other stories, like Benefits and whatnot. So, if you guys know where that is, is good to read, then let me know in the comments. I do, since there's only like, what, 20 of you that are watching me and only like 3 of you, or 3 or 4 of you are actually commenting, I do read all of them, and I try to respond. So, let me know where I should be reading that, and I will do my best. Now, in terms of play order, it will continue to shift, but it's gonna end up being a little bit of like a logic puzzle at this point, where it's like Jenna after everybody else, and but TJ before Flynn, but it's gonna look weird. But getting back onto it, I have been told that my volume control is a little bit odd sometimes, where I get a little loud sometimes for being so soft-spoken. Oh no, my tail. And it is a little not distracting, but surprising, so I will try and help adjust that. I'm still microphone shy. I don't know how to describe it other than that. I'm still microphone shy, where I feel like I'm just very soft-spoken, even more so than usual. So I am trying to figure out where and how to, do that better. Do that more gooder. So that is something I'm going to address. Next thing I wanted to say was that I am intentionally trying to do a bit of voice acting, as you can clearly hear by this point. I am trying... My goal is that if you don't look at the video at all, you can tell who's speaking. You don't have to look or know the story, you can just tell who is talking. And the issue I have is apparently with Jenna and Carl to a degree. It's a little hard for people to tell who's speaking. And I want to maybe change the way I speak with them a little bit. So please bear with me as I get their voices pegged down and get things figured out. So I guess the last thing I want to talk about for right now is just I will continue to thank people at the end of the videos, and it really does mean a lot. I am a person who's very emotional, and you know, I don't see the point of, like, trying to hide emotions or, like, not just be open and, not blunt, but, like, oh no, my tail. Blatant about how I feel about certain things, because I genuinely, sincerely do appreciate each and every one of you that has decided to take time out of your day and spend it with me. And that's part of the reason why I try and give words of encouragement every now and again, because you deserve to hear it as a beautiful person who's still alive with me today. But I think that's about everything I wanted to cover. Oh, yes, plans for the future. So I have an upload schedule that I'm going to try to stick to. Every Monday and Thursday will be Echo for now. And when I finally hit stuff like Route 65 or otherwise, you know, just extra stuff, I will change it to the Echo verse rather, because I mean, you know, it's just the Echo extended universe. I don't have plans on what VN to read next. I was thinking about possibly reading one of the ones that Keith made. Oh, jeez. Reading one of the ones that Keith made. I am aware of the, like, master list of furry VNs. I have that on my pocket, so don't worry about that. The only issue is I do not wish to read a VN. I don't wish to read a project that isn't complete. So, as of recording, No Way Home is going to sit on the side. Glory Hounds is going to sit on the side. I don't want to read it if it's not complete. Oh, jeez. Oh, no. But I don't want to read it if it's not done, because I don't want to wait. I don't want to have to sit there and try and remember what happened. You know, I don't want to have to do all of that. Besides, you know, I feel like looking at a project before it's finished is a bit like, you know, catching somebody when they're mid-dress. It's like, ooh, scandalous. I've also been burned a few times by projects that just never get completed and just go by the wayside. And once again, this isn't any shade against anybody. This honestly is shade against, you know, the AAA industry and their whole thing about early access and whatnot. So, I do believe that, you know, these projects are worth my time, that they are wonderful projects that I am looking forward to, especially Glory Hounds. Like, full disclosure, I plan to try and sync it up where I play Glory Hounds side by side with Dispatch. that's the current plan. I just don't want to play it if it's not ready yet. You know what I mean? I don't want to cut the cake without, you know, making sure the toothpick test passes. But yeah, I think that's about it. Let's go ahead and get into the video. Alright, so this is a few days after I recorded the previous video, so, you know, I had to get some Observer game footage recorded so I could start uploading that. So, we're gonna go ahead and try and remember here. So, from what I recall, I have officially begun Carl's route, which, again, as I addressed earlier in the little intro, I am having some small issues with YouTube's content ID trying to, you know, flag stuff, and I don't know if it's gonna be an issue or not. The last thing I want is for these videos to be taken down. From what I last recall, we were on Carl's route, and Carl's character has become more than one note now. He's not just the pot friend, because everybody's got, you know, the one friend that is the addict, I guess. I don't know. whatever that addiction might be. Everybody's got that one friend who's just the addict. So we got told by Carl that he's the great great something or other of the town's founder, which is interesting. And so we get told that he has a crawl space with some old documents and stuff, and apparently his parents are pretty well off, and he basically lives in a mansion. That's like both a family heritage home, but also a modernized, not estate, but, a modernized, like, big house. So, we met up with him, and after, getting ball tapped by Lizard Tail, thanks, Flynn, we end up having some very mildly, we have some large male enjoyer moments, which ain't no shame. I play a Hrothgar in Final Fantasy XIV. No, I don't have the overhaul mod. I haven't bothered with it. If you know, you know. But I too am a large male enjoyer, so, I am the target audience. I also want to point out there's been a lot of, like, attention to detail when these people are eating. And I don't know if that's like foreshadowing where things are gonna go a little B-stars on me, where it's like, oh, we talked about Leo having peppers hanging out of his mouth, but then the next time something's hanging out of his mouth, it's somebody's bit of skin. I don't know. So, let's get back into it. Carl's house is like a labyrinth. I think he once told me that it has over 30 rooms, which is fucking insane. Oh my god! 30 rooms? Okay, I've only ever been into one 3-story house that had a basement. And let me tell you, that house was big, and it only had like 15, 20 rooms. How do you have I don't understand, man. I swear, once you get a 7th digit in your tax bracket, you just stop becoming a person. The living room is about 5 times larger than the one in my parents' house, and it's hard to miss what looks like a 100-inch flat-screen TV against the wall. According to Carl, the first mansion was even bigger, though. After getting a drink, he leads me straight downstairs into the basement. Down the hallway, we pass a small home theater that looks like an entertainment room with a bar and a small gym. Yeah, these are separate rooms. Which, by the way, that's a cool thing that I found out. That, again, a whole, like, once you hit that 7th digit, are you still a human being? Are you still a person? When they say home theaters in, like, these people's rich houses, they really mean home theater. Like, it's not just, oh, you have a couch and a couple... No, it's an actual theater that they have. And there are specific companies, there are specific distribution houses that will distribute brand new movies to these mega rich people's home theaters so they don't have to go out and watch a movie. Think about that. That is insane. The quick glance I get shows at least 10 fitness contraptions. Oh my god. Well, I mean, at least now we know how Carl's, being all cute. After that, things get a little more dingy, and I can see how portions of the foundation could be decades old. Oh, I've been in this room before. I've been here before. Finally, at the end of the hall, Carl opens a door, and I can see from the ceiling that it's right under the stairs we came down. Carl waves his paw around and finally grasps something before pulling down. An old light bulb comes on, and I see it's a little door with a small latch on it. He opens it, and I'm greeted with a musty smell as Carl slides through the opening. I follow tentatively, making sure I'm not walking into any cobwebs. Are there a lot of spiders down here? I don't think so. We sprayed a few weeks ago. It's extremely dark, and I hear Carl grunting next to me. Ugh, there's a floodlight here somewhere. Ah, here it is. Like everything in this house, it's big for a crawl space. You telling me a crawl space you can stand up in? The pillars sprout from the ground in two rows that stretch back almost into darkness. The ground is covered in a tarp, and I see dozens of plastic bins lining the walls. This is a lot of shit. Yup, it's a few generations worth of shit. I walk over the tarp to look into one of the bins, but all I can see is clumps of cloth and towel through the cloudy plastic. Carl walks past me straight towards the back of the crawl space, his big hooves clopping along loudly. I actually helped them sort through all this stuff last year, so I think I know where it is. I follow him, but it's hard to see in the darkness. Should we get a flashlight? Nah, it's only two tubs, I think. We'll just pull them to the front. I stand off to the side as I watch him push bins around, looking at the labels on top. I look over at one of them and see home movies written on it, and it's filled with cassettes. Ugh, don't remind me. I look up and see that Carl's noticed me staring at the bin. What? Carl grunts as he lifts up a bin and drops it pretty carelessly onto the floor. I'm pretty sure I hear something break. Mom had me help convert all that into digital. Took all fucking year. Wow. Yeah, it's in the cloud now. You're actually in a lot of those videos. Huh, really? Yeah, birthday parties and shit. Of course I would be. Carl's dad practically had a video camera glued to his eye back in the day. I used to hang out with Carl almost as much as I did Leo once we started going out. I even went on their family vacation a few times. Oh, that's sweet. But then me going out with Leo changed things. Looking back, I think Carl was kind of unhappy with that. We could watch a few of them once we're done here if you want. Uh, sure. That sounds like an old person thing to do, but I am curious. Yeah, found it! Carl slides out two plastic bins, and I see history written on the top. Help me carry one. Carl lifts up the top one and starts waddling back to the front. I bend over and lift the second. I'm surprised at how fucking heavy it is. I'm worried I'm not even going to get it off the ground for a few seconds, but I manage it after a while. If Carl's bin is as heavy as mine, then he's a fucking beast at being able to lift and carry like that. I stagger after him, almost certain that I'm going to go headfirst into the wall. Once we make it back near the stairs, I bend over to set down my bin. That's when I see a massive spider sitting on the lid. It takes about half a second for me to recognize the black shape and spindly legs. Oh, fuck! I scream and drop the bin before I know it. I'm halfway back from where we came, panting and shivering. So, quick fun fact, there has been a study recorded, and I don't know if they did it with spiders, but I do know they did it with snakes, where essentially there were images that were basically like TV static, you know, the snow that was on TV screens back before everything just was a solid blue screen. Is it even a blue screen anymore? Anyway, so they had this very blurred out image, and progressively the image would become less and less blurred. And the study was to see how quickly we, like, as humans, could recognize certain images. And the one consistent thing we recognized very quickly, and I mean very quickly, like twice as fast as we recognized anything else, was the image of a snake. So the theory is that we have been trained through like generations and like history and all that to be able to recognize the image of a snake because that is danger. That is death. Holy shit, what happened? I tremble and try to steady my voice. Fucking spider! What? You're really scared of those? Man, for a second I thought my sister had come home and then got murdered. You told me there weren't any! I didn't say that. I just said that we sprayed. Get rid of it! At this point, I've shuffled a little closer back to the light, and I can see Carl grinning as he bends over to look at the lid of the bin. Whoa! It's got babies on its back. My body gives a violent, involuntary spasm, and I shake my paws like a fucking girl. Stop it! He glances up at me with that stupid smile on his face. Wow, that was gay. But seriously, got a bunch of tiny babies on its back. I think it's a wolf spider. I swear I'm gonna pass the hell out if he doesn't stop talking. I cover my face. Please! Alright, alright. I didn't know you were that scared of him. You should probably get that checked out. Considering that I'd almost crashed my car into the garage of my parents' house when a spider crawled out of the AC, he was probably right. Just kill it! Why would I do that? I watch as he tilts the bin sideways. It's not gonna hurt anyone. I want to tell him that those babies are only going to grow into 100 more giant wolf spiders, but I realize I'll just come off as a bloodthirsty asshole, so I bite my lip. Man, this kind of reminds me of when I used to have spiders in my house a lot. Or, whatnot. I had a interesting feeling about them because I too am terrified of spiders to where I almost crashed my floor scrubber at work into one of the shelving units. I almost crashed it into one of the shelving units. And when I noticed this itsy bitsy teeny tiny little spider, the itty bittiest little spider you ever did see, was on my arm. However, in my defense, the only times things that small have ever been crawling on me has been when they were chiggers. And fuck those. Fuck chigger bites. That stuff sucks. But the weird paradox of it is that I personally, if there's just a spider off in the corner, that's fine. Matter of fact, I used to live in a house where I actively was trying to keep spiders around because we had a fruit fly problem. And we also had a other couple problems because our backyard would hold water a lot, so we'd get bugs and stuff that were kind of pests. So we would end up having all sorts of pests. So I would kind of try and keep spiders around. The only time I have ever regretted not killing a spider is when I managed to get one underneath the glass, underneath a glass jar, and did the trick where you put the glass jar on it, then slide the paper under it, and I kind of turned the jar upside down. I saw that fucker run, become a little blur, and its front two legs went up, its body poised, and I saw its fucking mandibles go right at my thumb, trying to get through the glass at me. And oh, I about dropped that fucking glass jar. Oh man, that scared me. But I put it outside. Because it was just a little house spider. It wasn't hurting nobody. But the thing about this is I kind of get it with Carl. He's just such a chill dude. And honestly, he's coming off with Gentle Giant vibes, where he's a big dude who's just really shy and he doesn't want to hurt anybody. And I don't fully realize where it's coming from, but I'm getting a lot of me, though, off of him. Ugh. I walk back towards Carl, hugging my shoulders as I try to control the chills running through me. Now I'm gonna be paranoid the whole time that it's gonna come back out to get me. Carl rubs my back when I stand next to him. You know they actually clean up a lot of other bugs that get into the house. Yeah, see? See? Yeah. Well, I'd rather be covered in ants than spiders. Okay. Alright, TJ, that's where I'm gonna have to stop you right there. Again, Arkansas, all that. I cannot tell you how many anthills I have stepped in my life. And you're like, how the hell do you step in an anthill? They're so small. And if you're not paying attention, a lot of the time they look like rocks. Or like just little like mole dirt piles. Like I really thought several of them were just mole dirt piles. And my grandma told me to like squish mole dirt piles back down. That way, when the lawnmower goes over it, it's not, getting in the blades. I cannot tell you how many times I have stepped in anthills. I am. Mm-mm. It's clear he's trying not to laugh at me as he starts popping the lid off his bin. On the top are a few framed pictures, and under those are a few more cardboard boxes. I release the latches on the older bin, keeping my eye out for any black spots that might jump out at me. This one is filled with bundles wrapped in cloth or paper. Carl drags his bin to the steps so that he can sit on them, and I follow suit. So, how do you think you'll use this stuff? Um, I unwrap a smaller bundle and look at the gold pocket watch underneath. Oh, wow, well, not totally sure. Depends on what we find. Might film a few things. There's a paper tag attached. Oh, okay, I was like, music, what? Huh? There's a paper tag attached to the chain with Robert Hendricks written on it. Who's this? Carl gives it a glance. No idea. Probably a great uncle or something. I wrap the pocket watch and reach back into the bin to pull out the next item. There's something really cool about old stuff. My mind wanders to who might have had it, who bought it, and how much shit it must have seen. History was my first choice to major in, but Dad put a stop to that pretty quick. I pull out various other things, dolls, a pipe, coins, and another pocket watch. I feel like this is worth a lot of money. Why don't they sell it? Probably, but it's family stuff. And I still think they want to do the museum. He gives an awkward cough. Sighs. We already got plenty of money. He's got the binder open, looking at black and white photos behind the plastic. Hey, this is him, right? He points at a picture of a very dignified looking ram, thumbs in his vest, wearing one of those big top hats. A fox stands next to him in a similar pose. I could see a piece of yellow paper set behind the photo and tug it out. James Hendricks. Yep, definitely him. And John Begay. Huh. That's Jenna's last name. So this is a funny story that I told on the GPG Discord as well as the Echo Discord. But before I knew what any of this was, like, because to me, furry visual novels were just dating sims, so I'd always pass them up. I've obviously been informed. I have been enlightened. So I always passed them up. So this means I didn't know about the smoke room. So imagine my surprise when I see a video that is basically where a dude was allowing people to send in faxes to his fax machine, and he was going to put it on the fridge that was like behind him. And somebody sends in this picture of a fox holding a gun, and it said, "Show us what's inside the fridge, Wayne." And he stands up, he's like, "You want the truth? You want the truth?" and if you want to know what happens, you got to watch the video. Point is, I didn't know who that was, but I was sharing it with my boyfriend, and he was like, "Oh, that's Murdoch," and I was like, "What? Who?" So it turns out that Fox was Murdoch from the smoke room pointing a gun. and that just tickled people, and that's how I ended up listening to the intro to the smoke room. And one thing led to another, and now I'm here. But yeah. Carl's phone starts buzzing, and he grunts as he leans back to pull it out of his pocket. Uh, hey, Mom. Helping Chase with his project. No, of course not. I look over at him, but he gets up and clops back up the steps. Looking back down at the picture, I wonder if it's just coincidence, but I don't think so. Junior's family has been an Echo since the beginning too, so this guy definitely has to be a relative of some kind. I take a picture of the photograph with my phone. I'll show it to Jenna later and ask if she knows anything about it. To do that without a car? Carl raises his voice, so I look back up the steps, wondering if I should close the door. Hearing him angry like that didn't feel right. His parents were always hard on him, but I guess they had their reasons. I spend the next 20 minutes shuffling through the bins, trying to be careful not to break anything. I decide I have enough and put the lids back on the bins, lining the stuff I picked out along one of the steps since I don't have anywhere else to put them. By the time I head back to the actual basement, Carl's gone. As I approach Carl's room, I smell it before I even open the door. He's reclined on his bed, an arm thrown over his face, the big window above him open. Clothes are scattered all over the floor, along with a few empty water bottles and bowls. Every inch of the walls are covered in posters like I remember, along with a few on the ceiling. Bookcases line the open wall opposite wall, filled to the brim with comics and toys. He raises up his arm as I walk in and smiles. Uh, Sorry about the mess, dude. It's hard to keep everything clean when my parents aren't here to yell at me about it. Bro, yeah. Yeah, look, okay. So this is a bit of life advice that I'm trying to adhere to personally because my room is a mess. Thankfully, it is not filth. There is no excuse for filth. There is no excuse for filth. Filth is old food. Filth is like just actual grime. Filth is grossness. It is disgustingness. Clutter, on the other hand, is what I deal with. I have the problem of two things. First of all, don't put it down, put it away. You have to build that habit in yourself to remind yourself that it costs you nothing but seconds to put something away. The second thing you have to train yourself to do as an adult, where nobody's going to remind you to clean up your room, is, and this is easy, is to just look at your room and split it into 4 sections. And it doesn't have to be the same day as this, but as an example, for me, it's Monday is section 1, and that's my desk. get my desk all cleaned off and organized because I have a very small room because I live in a shoebox apartment. Section 2 is Tuesday. That's the area around my bed. Section 3 is my entryway, and then section 4 is the area around my closet. And the idea is that just one day every week, you go to that section, you clean it, and you clean it properly. You make it correct. You take everything on it that's not supposed to be in there, you get everything back, and you just do that. And suddenly, cleanup doesn't seem like much of an issue now, does it? Because you're not cleaning your room, you're just straightening your desk. You're just getting all the clothes in the bin. You're just, hey, I've had this empty McDonald's cup, for a few days now. That's just been sitting on my bed on my side table. Let's just get that in the trash. Let's take out the trash. It's not about doing everything every day. It's about breaking it up to make it seem approachable. Choice paralysis sucks, and I know it does, and I know it's hard to do the right thing, and it's hard to be an adult where people aren't going to remind you to do things like, take out the trash, do your laundry, brush your teeth, take a shower. I know it's hard, but really it is less hard than you think it is. But with that bit of life advice, I guess I'm going to go ahead and call this episode. As per the usual, I'm just going to give a couple shout outs here real quick. I'm going to shout out, let's say, Dogathan Dogstar. If you are familiar with their art, great, you know who they are. If you're not, I encourage you to go check them out. They are very cool. Their art is very adorable and very stylized, and it always looks warm and soft, and I absolutely love looking at it. And I always get excited when I see they've posted something new. The next person I want to call out, give a shout out to today is actually somebody who's been in all of my comment sections, basically. They have been an active person with their comments, and I do, like I said, since there's like 5 people at most that comment, I do notice and I do appreciate it. It is Haley CT or Hallie CT, Halikt. I don't know how to say your name, and apparently I am notoriously bad at pronouncing names. But thank you so much for taking the time to watch my videos and comment on them, and I really do appreciate you. And also, if you don't know who they are, you should check them out too. They have 3D model stuff that they do, and I'll do like I did with Keith and Toaster and all of them, and I'll throw these people on screen. But like they do 3D model stuff, and it's really kind of cool. Like 3D modeling is just one of those things that I don't think I'll ever really be able to get into, but it's cool to see what they can do and what they have done. And I encourage you, go check these guys out. They are so cool. They are so cool, and I love it whenever their art gets posted and I get to see it. But with that, see you next time at the food truck.